Have you ever stopped to consider the profound truth that you are a trustee? That the creator of the universe, in his infinite wisdom, has looked upon you and entrusted you with specific, unique, and valuable gifts. This isn't a metaphor or a poetic sentiment. It's a foundational reality. God entrusts you with gifts. What are you doing with them? It's a question that can be unsettling, one we might prefer to leave unanswered, tucked away in the busyness of our daily lives. We feel the weight of expectation, the whisper of potential. We sense there is more we could be doing, more we could be becoming. But where do we even begin? The sheer scope of the question can lead to paralysis, a quiet internal pause where we acknowledge the responsibility but feel unequipped to act. So we often default to one of two responses, both rooted in fear. Are you hiding your gifts, keeping them under lock and key, afraid that if you bring them into the light, they won't be good enough? Or perhaps you're burying them, pushing them down under layers of excuses, procrastination, and the demands of a life lived on autopilot. Are you hiding them, burying them, or are you investing them? The good news is that stewardship isn't about a grand, singular gesture. It's a discipline, a practice, a rhythm of faithfulness. Today, we're going to explore a simple biblical lens for understanding your gifts and how to put them to work. We'll unpack 3 practical ways to steward what you've been given, and a weekly habit to grow what matters most, turning potential into tangible impact. Our guide for this journey is one of Jesus' most powerful teachings, the parable of the talents, found in Matthew 25, verses 14 through 30. The story is simple yet profound. A master, before leaving on a long journey, entrusts his property to 3 servants. To one, he gives 5 talents, a talent being a significant sum of money, worth perhaps 20 years of a laborer's wages. To another, he gives 2 talents, and to a third, he gives 1 talent, each according to his ability. The first 2 servants immediately get to work. The one with 5 talents puts them to work and gains 5 more. The one with 2 talents does the same, gaining 2 more. They understood the nature of the entrustment. It wasn't a deposit for safekeeping. It was seed capital for growth. They took a risk, engaged the marketplace, and created value. Their master's assets were not just preserved, they were multiplied. But the third servant chose a different path. The scripture says he went and dug a hole in the ground and hid his master's money. Why? He tells us himself when the master returns. Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, so I was afraid. Fear was his operating principle. Fear of his master, fear of failure, fear of loss. This fear drove him not to diligence, but to inaction. He chose preservation over multiplication. He chose safety over stewardship. When the master returns, he assesses their work. To the first 2 servants, his words are the ones we all long to hear. Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little. I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. Their faithfulness with what they were given resulted in more responsibility and a deeper relationship with their master. But to the servant who hid his talent, the master's response is chilling. You wicked and lazy servant. He points out the hypocrisy. If the servant truly believed the master was harsh, the least he could have done was put the money in the bank to earn interest. He did nothing. The consequence is severe. The 1 talent is taken from him and given to the one who has 10. Hiding gifts, we see, leads to regret and lost opportunity. It's a failure not just of action, but of faith. This parable isn't just about money. It's about everything God has given us: our time, our skills, our relationships, our experiences, our resources. The principle is clear. God expects a return on his investment in us, not for his own enrichment, but for our growth and his glory. The good news is that stewardship starts small and starts now. You don't need 5 talents to begin. You just need to be faithful with the one you have. So how do we do that? It begins with a simple 3-step process. Step 1. Inventory what you have. You cannot steward what you haven't surveyed. The master gave talents according to their ability. He knew what they could handle. You need to know too. This is more than just listing what you're good at. It's a holistic audit of your life. Get a notebook or open a document and create categories. What are your skills? Think both hard skills like coding, graphic design, or speaking a language, and soft skills like empathy, communication, or strategic thinking. What are your passions? What topics do you love to learn about? What problems in the world break your heart? What activities make you lose track of time? What are your resources? This includes your finances, yes, but also your network of relationships, the tools you have access to, and the time available in your week. Finally, what are your experiences? List your successes, but more importantly, list your failures and what you learned from them. This inventory is your starting map. It's the 1 talent or 5 talents laid out before you. Step 2. Experiment with small investments. The servant who buried his talent was paralyzed by the fear of losing it all. The faithful servants understood that growth requires action. Notice, they put the money to work. They didn't wait for a perfect, guaranteed plan. They experimented. Your call is the same. Look at your inventory and identify one small, low-risk way to put a gift to work. The key here is small. Don't try to build the entire cathedral at once. Just lay a single, perfect brick. If you have a gift for teaching, don't plan a whole course. Offer to explain a concept to one colleague. If you have a passion for cooking, don't open a restaurant. Host one friend for dinner and try a new recipe. If you want to write, don't stare at a blank page thinking about a novel. Write one 300-word post about something you learned this week. These are small bets. They lower the stakes, bypass the fear of failure, and get you into motion. Motion creates momentum. Step 3. Reinvest the returns into growth. Every small investment yields a return. It's crucial to recognize that these returns aren't always financial. When you teach that colleague, the return might be their gratitude, a clarification of your own understanding, or increased confidence in your ability to explain things. When you host that dinner, the return is a strengthened friendship and knowledge of a new recipe. When you publish that short post, the return might be a single encouraging comment, or simply the personal satisfaction of creating and sharing. This is your profit. The unfaithful servant did nothing with his master's money. The faithful servants took their profit and immediately reinvested it. You must do the same. Take the confidence from that teaching moment and offer to lead a small part of a team meeting. Take the knowledge from that dinner party and try a more complex dish next time. Take the feedback from that blog post and write another one, making it slightly better. This is the growth loop. Invest, learn, reinvest, grow. This is how 2 talents become 4, and 5 become 10. Consider the power of this compounding effect. Let's make it incredibly practical. What if you were to invest 1 hour per day into developing a single skill from your inventory? Just 1 hour? It seems small, but after 1 week, that's 7 hours, a full workday. After a month, it's 30 hours. And 6 months later, you will have invested over 180 hours of focused effort. At that point, you don't just have a hobby. You have a marketable asset. You have moved from latent potential to demonstrated capability. This is the power of small, consistent investments. It's the principle of the faithful servant applied in daily life. So how do we build this into the rhythm of our lives? Let's create a simple weekly habit. Think of it as your stewardship cadence. It has 3 parts mirroring our 3 steps. Part A, inventory. Set aside 30 minutes every Sunday. This is your sacred time for reflection. Review your inventory list. What did you learn this week? What new experiences did you have? Where did you see God at work? Then, based on that reflection, identify a few small investment experiments for the week ahead. Part B, invest. Schedule 3 1-hour experiments into your calendar for the coming week. Treat them like important appointments. These are your putting the talent to work sessions. During this hour, you are fully focused on your small bet investment. No distractions. This is where you write the code, practice the speech, serve the client, or learn the new software. 3 hours a week, that's it. Part C, reassess and reallocate. At the end of the week, during your Sunday inventory time, you'll look back at your 3 experiments. What was the return? What did you learn? What feedback did you receive? What went well? What didn't? This isn't about judging yourself, it's about learning. Based on these returns, you reallocate for the next week. Maybe one experiment was a dead end. That's okay. That's valuable information. Now you know not to invest more there. Maybe another experiment was surprisingly fruitful. Great. Double down on that next week. This is how you steward with wisdom. The beauty of this system is that it honors the wisdom of the parable. You start small to reduce fear. The third servant was paralyzed because he saw the talent as one big, indivisible thing he could lose. But by breaking it down into tiny one-hour experiments, the fear of failure shrinks to almost nothing. You can survive a failed one-hour experiment. This allows you to steward with courage, not recklessness. It's the courage of the faithful servants who took calculated risks and saw them pay off. Over time, these small investments compound into significant opportunities. 5 small investments in your public speaking: a toast at a wedding, a comment in a meeting, a 1-minute presentation, can compound into the confidence to give a keynote address. 5 small investments in your writing can compound into a freelance career. 5 small investments in your hospitality can compound into a thriving community that you host. Your faithfulness in the small things is what God uses to prepare you for the larger ones. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Your journey of faithful stewardship begins with a single action: awareness. To help you, we've created a simple tool to guide you through this process. Download the stewardship worksheet in the devotional. It will walk you through creating your initial inventory and planning your first week of small investments. Don't let this be just another inspiring idea. Let this be the moment you decide to stop hiding, stop burying, and start investing. Start your inventory today and take the first step toward one day hearing those beautiful words, "Well done, good and faithful servant."